Alright guys, good evening. It is 10 p.m. Wednesday, March 29th, 2017, 10 p.m. New York time. Hope everybody's doing well. I haven't made a video here in a little bit, so this one's not really on a particular trade, but is on a quick discussion on indicators. Now, I will just say right up front that, especially, and this is especially true for those of you that are still new at trading, haven't been profitable yet, or looking for that magic bullet, whatever. I think experienced traders, profitable traders know this to be true already, but I'll just say it, and I probably will repeat it throughout this video. Putting an indicator on your chart is not a trading system, okay? An indicator is not, if you're just blindly following an indicator that crosses something or prints pretty red and green arrows on your chart, or prints pretty histograms or bars or anything else like that, you're fooling yourself. You're not going to be successful, because for a lot of reasons. One, if it were that easy, again, just like robots and things like that, if we're that easy, everybody would just throw that indicator on their chart and we'd all be millionaires and go home happy. Okay, it just doesn't work that way. All indicators are basically lagging indicators. They all use different formulas for how they're calculated, and I'm not going to get into any of that. You can take any indicator you want, Google that indicator, and you'll find all kinds of web pages that will tell you how it's calculated, and probably tell you how to use it too. But they're all based either on moving averages and momentum and just basically price action and volume over some given period, and they throw it together in some certain formula and they create these indicators. Now, it doesn't mean that they don't have a place. It just means that if you're trading them blindly, you're not going to be successful. Now, you can point to some given trade where you can say, see, my indicator said this and it was a successful trade. Well, I will argue that that's just luck, and 50% of the time you can flip a coin and you'll be right. So, but it doesn't mean your indicator did it. It just means that in that case you got lucky. Okay. So again, and the other thing I want to stress is never, ever, 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 ever pay for an indicator. I don't care what the website says, what the person tells you, what fake profit statements they put on their page. I don't care whether the indicator is $7 or whether it's $700. It's not worth it. Any indicator that is useful and can in some way complement your system, whatever your system is available for free in your trading platform. And I don't care what trading platform you use, they all have the same indicators. Different ones are going to have different indicators, but and that's one I'm going to talk about tonight that I found in one of my platforms, but not my other one. But they're all out there. Okay, so don't pay for them. Don't rely on them exclusively. They should complement what you're doing, whether you're using a technical system or a fundamental system or some combination of the two. And as you know from my videos, I'm an Elliott wave trader primarily, but I do use fundamentals. I think it's very, very important to understand the fundamentals, because at the end of the day, regardless of what people tell you, it is fundamentals. It is policy, economic policy, and major events from currencies, from countries that move their currency. The patterns are, they're self-fulfilling prophecies. But people that say they don't rely on news, or they don't care about it, they don't follow it, then mostly, you're trading with one eye open, and quite frankly, in my opinion, you are. They say that because they don't understand the fundamentals. They don't understand what monetary policy. They don't understand, GDP and employment, and what that means, and how to read the news releases, and not the headline, but the details. So, and I'm not going to go into all that. I cover that a lot in my other videos. So, but just to get back to indicators, it's very important that you don't rely on them, and I certainly don't. So I'm just going to show you something. So as you've seen from all my other videos, there is this indicator right here that I use, that I've had on all my videos. Now I've got it blown up a little bit here. I don't usually have it, but just for the point of purpose here. This is the CCI Commodity Channel Index. This is available in every single trading platform. In this one here, it's right here, Commodity Channel Index. And all of this is a multi-period CCI. You can see, and I know you can't see my whole screen here because I have this drawn off here, but you know, I've got all these different, and this is MetaTrader 5, and you can do this in MetaTrader 4, and you can do it probably in a lot of other ones where you just drag and drop the indicator a bunch of times into the same indicator window, and you get all these different lines, and they're all just different time periods, anywhere from the 21 on up to the 60-day, and you get these. This is all CCI, but it's just multiple time periods of it that I adjusted, and then there's some color changes too. And basically the way you've heard me reference the CCI is without going into all of it. And you can use CCI for divergence, certainly. That's what a lot of indicators are for, you know, measuring to see divergence. That's really where I find them the most useful. But the CCI, basically, if you see all these lines compressed and moving in one direction, that's usually a sign of a strong trend, such as like right here. You can see it going down, and the price is going down pretty strong. When it's spread out like this is more of a correction. You know, when it's going at a lower angle, or you know, not as sharp of an angle, and they're all spread apart, that's usually a correction to an uptrend. And sure enough, you look up here, you'll see that. So that's kind of how I use the CCI. And as you go through the time frames, you'll see it change, obviously, like every other indicator. But again, there's nothing magical. This is a CCI. Anybody can have this, and I just use it with multiple time periods. Okay. So that's good, but I've noticed sometimes with CCI that with divergence it doesn't always catch the divergence the way I like to see it, and sometimes I rely a lot on these, you know, whether it's compressed or spread apart, and this is usually pretty accurate, but I started playing around with some other indicators, and I'm just going to take the CCI off of here for a minute, just for now. And I'm going to bring up this one. And what this one is, and I know you can't see the edge of my screen again, but so I have, this is a MetaTrader 5 account. This is a demo account. I trade on MetaTrader 4. This is, but I use demo for MetaTrader 5 because, as I've talked about in my videos, I'm an Elliott wave trader primarily. That's my primary thing, in combination with fundamentals and news. And MetaTrader 5 has all these different time frames you don't get on MetaTrader 4, which is really important for what I do. And this also has the Elliott wave labeling tools up here for corrections and motive waves. So that's why I use MetaTrader 5 as for analysis. I trade on MetaTrader 4 because my broker doesn't offer MetaTrader 5. So I was looking around in the other night, just playing around a few days ago, and in MetaTrader 5, and I came across an indicator that my MetaTrader 4 platform does not have, and I'm assuming that's probably the case with most brokers because this is a standard platform that most Forex brokers use. And so if you have MetaTrader 5, or if you download it and you go into your indicators, and you'll find it right here. It's actually under oscillators, so it's here because it's one that I put on the chart recently. But you go to indicators, you go to oscillators, it's right here, and it's called the Chaikin Oscillator. Chaiken, I guess that's how you say it. And I don't really care how it's calculated. I did Google it. As I said, you can take any one of these oscillators and you Google it, and you'll find out how they calculate it, and it doesn't really matter. But I looked at this one, and I got about 3 lines into the description. I got bored because really I don't care. But this is the Chaikin Oscillator. And what I found with it, and the only change I made to the how it displays is by default it's exponential, and you can see when you change it to exponential you get all these little choppy waves here, and I don't like that because I don't care about any of that. I'm looking for obvious patterns. So I went in here and I changed this from exponential to smooth, and it smooths out these lines, and that's really what I like. This to me is much more appealing to my eye. I didn't change anything else. I haven't really played around with the other settings, and I probably won't. So it defaults to a 10 and 3 time period. It has this 0 line right here, and again, guys, I don't rely on something crossing 0 and saying if it crosses through 0 to the upside I'm going to buy, if it crosses to 0 to the downside I'm going to sell. Again, you might be right, but it's not a trading system. It's just not. especially if it starts oscillating back and forth and you just get whipsawed out of the market because you think you're clever and you're taking a lagging indicator and trying to trade off of it. You're gonna kill yourself. So, but anyways, so for this particular indicator, I was playing around with it the other day, and what I like about it is I found that it does show the divergence and the peaks and valleys in the indicator faster than the CCI does, which is important when I'm using my pattern analysis to decide whether a trend is about to change. It's, maybe I look at the Elliott wave pattern and I say, okay, well, it looks like the pattern's completing, but let me look at the indicator. And again, the indicator is purely secondary. In fact, a lot of times I just go like this. If when I start doing my analysis, I'll actually just lower this. I don't even look at the indicator. I don't want my eyes being drawn to it. I want to look at what's on the chart first, okay? But then I'll bring the indicator up afterwards, if I see something that might be where this might support my theory. And it's just an extra confirmation. That's all it is. I don't trade off the indicator, okay? And again, that's very important. So, like I said, I was noticing divergence is better painted with this particular indicator. I'm going to put the CCI back on here for a second. I don't know if I'll see it on this chart. Okay, well, whatever. I'll put this here. Okay. Yeah, you can kind of see it here. And I'm going to add the Chaiken on here too. Alright. Sorry about this, guys. Okay. So if you look at this right here, now let's take this price action right here. Now again, the other thing is I never look at anything in a vacuum on one time frame. I look at, this happens to be the daily chart, but when I get into this trade that I'm going to talk about, it's important to look at all the time frames, and I do all the time. But in this particular case, let's just take a look at these two indicators. Now, here's the CCI right here. Now let's take this price high right here. Okay, the CCI made a new high right here. Now, granted, not all the lines, but I see this peak right here. I'm like, whoa, okay, this is a new high on the indicator. Price made a new high. I'm thinking, this uptrend is going to keep going. Maybe you get a little pullback, whatever, but it's not over. Now, I'm putting aside also the Elliott wave pattern too, because at least right here on this time frame, I don't really see an obvious pattern here on this uptrend. Okay, so again, I'm putting aside my technical analysis, and I'm certainly putting aside the fundamentals on here. Okay, I'm just looking at indicators. Let's say I've made a decision that, well, okay, there's a pattern here. I want to decide whether I want to get in, wait for a pullback. What's the news that's coming out? What's going on here? I'm just trading strictly off the indicator. Now, if you look at this, you see this high here at this high, But now, if you look at the same price action at the Chaiken, look at this down here. Look at this divergence. This made a new high up here at this high, and yet it makes a new high, and the indicator is way down here. So as a momentum indicator, this is running out of steam, and sure enough, look what it did. It dropped 477 pips. Okay. Now, if you were in this long on the flip side over here, okay, and then let's say it continued and made a new high right here. Now you look at the indicators going down. You're like, oh, I'm going to get out of this. Okay, and you get out, and now you leave 138 pips on the table. So this is what I'm saying, that the pattern is more important, because this is a classic. I don't care whether you're an Elliott wave trader or not. This is a corrective pattern, overlapping, sideways, choppy corrective pattern. You can go down to a lower time frame and probably identify it and label it if you're a purist Elliott wave trader. But this is a corrective pattern. So this clearly was going to go back up. So, but what the indicator is saying, that look, this is a short-term pullback, but you can see that by the shape this is going to go up. On the other hand, when it goes up to here, now you see the indicator continues down. So now it ends the correction. The price continues to go up, and yet the indicator continues to fall. So now when it makes this new high, again, I'm going to be very cautious. If I'm in this trade long, I'm going to be looking for a potential exit. And now I see it pull back here. I'm thinking, okay, well, is this just another correction? We're going to go up again. And then as soon as it takes out these lows, you can see it just, the bottom falls out and it keeps going down. and the indicator was suggesting that the trend was running out of steam. But again, it didn't run out of it right away because you had a new high here, and then you came back to the high here, and you're losing momentum, but it still made another high even though the indicator was going down. So that's again to my point that you can't trade just on what the indicator is doing. You have to look at your pattern, follow the news, follow your technicals, whatever you're doing on the chart, and not rely on just on the indicator. But it's a warning sign. Okay, that's all I'm trying to get at, guys. Okay, so this is my demo account, so you can see it here. So let's go over to the daily chart here. Okay, so let's just take this from a buy standpoint. Now, this actually occurred before I actually started using this indicator. I just started using it, but you see down here you get this low right here. Now in this case the CCI picked this up too, but you see it makes this low right here. Makes this low right here. You go down to the indicator. The indicator does not make a new low. In fact, you have bullish divergence here. This makes a new low over this low, yet the indicator is much higher, suggesting that this price is going to go back up. Now, I'm not saying it's going to go back up tons, but then that's where you rely on your patterns. Now, let's go to my live account. What was that? US Swiss, right? Okay. So here it is on the US Swiss. This is the hourly chart. Now, you see I got into this. I've been traveling a lot, guys, but so you see right here, okay, you got this here on this chart. I need to go back to the demo because again, this is MetaTrader 4. It doesn't have the Chaikin Oscillator on here. So let's go down to the 1 hour here. Okay, so now we see this on the daily chart, right? You see that this is not making a new low on the oscillator, right? So then you go down to a lower time frames, go down to the 1 hour here, okay? And here's that low right here. Okay, here's this low and here's this low that trend started. Well, look at the indicator. The indicator is not making a new low. We go down here, okay? No new low. This is a correction, okay? Well, look at the CCI. CCI makes a new low on this low right here. Okay, now it's only one of these CCI lines, not all of them, because again they're different time frames. So this was probably one of the shorter ones right here. You know, but let's see if it'll tell me. I get the cursor. That's the 21-day. Yeah, that's the shortest one. So that makes sense. This is the fast-moving one, and it goes down and makes a new low. But I'd be thinking, oh boy, you know, it's making a new low. This thing is going to keep going down, and I would have probably missed this. Whereas this Chaiken oscillator didn't make a new low. In fact, there's bullish divergence here. Goes down, makes this low. You have divergence from here. You look at this low versus this. You have divergence. It goes down. Now this doesn't make a new low, okay, but it doesn't break down through this zero line. It just stays right about here. It comes back to about this price again. The indicator actually follows it almost exactly, staying just above there, and then boom, it turns up. Okay, and so that's it. Now, from where we are right now, and again, this is the 1 hour chart. We went up here, we made a new high right here. Now we're seeing price go back to this high right here, and you see we're starting to get divergence here on the 1 hour chart. So I'm looking at this from an Elliott wave standpoint. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know. I'm thinking, you know, this is not a really nice clean pattern here, but let me take the CCI off of here again. Actually, no, I'll just leave it and I'll just minimize this whole thing because that's something that'll stretch out the pattern a little bit. I should have just taken it off. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know. It's not a really clear pattern, but this looks like, you know, a move up, and we have a move down here. So maybe this is running out of steam. You know, maybe we're going to get a correction down now. Is this the end of this whole trend? We'll get a much bigger correction, or are we just going to see this drop and then continue up? Now that's where your higher time frame analysis can come in. Okay. So let's look at the Chaiken again. Go back to the daily. You can see what's happening on the daily. Okay, daily is still moving up. So I'm thinking whatever this ends up doing here, there will be an end of a trend, we'll have a correction, and then we'll continue back up, because the daily is still suggesting that. And also from an Elliott wave standpoint, if you go out to the weekly chart here, we made this move up. This looks like a classic kind of zigzag pattern correction down. We're seeing that it's ending and it wants to move back up again. And here's the Chaiken on the weekly chart. We made a new high up here. Okay, the Chaiken indicator made that new high. Now it's pulling back. This looks like a corrective move, and that it'll turn back up. So anyways, guys, I'm not going to beat the dead horse here, but I wanted the whole purpose of this was A, to talk about indicators, and B, to talk about this particular indicator. Now again, this is MetaTrader 5. MetaTrader 4, to my knowledge, does not have it. If you are using a different charting software, perhaps you have it, and if you do, maybe you want to check it out. Depending, I don't know what you guys use for indicators. A lot of people use RSI and stochastics. I've never been a big fan of either one. A lot of people swear by the MACD. Again, I'm just not a fan, but again, you do whatever works for you. I've been using CCI for years, and but I think I like this indicator more, and I may just start keeping this one on there, and CCI, either get rid of it entirely or just minimize it and just bring it up for maybe double confirmation. But I don't want to have analysis paralysis either. So anyways, guys, I hope that was helpful, and good luck trading. Tomorrow is Thursday. Not a lot of fundamentals this week moving the market, so I really haven't traded very much, although there have been some good moves, but I've been traveling too, so I do have a few trades on right now that are doing pretty well, including that US Swiss, but we'll see how the rest of the week goes. Anyways, guys, safe trading, and hope this was helpful. Appreciate any comments or feedback, or if you have any questions, certainly. And make smart trading decisions. Use your own system. Make your own judgments. Don't trade any trades based on anything I'm telling you. It's just for information only. And as I said at the beginning, do not take trades or rely on an indicator as a trading system. You will not be successful, and no indicator is a trading system. It's at best a supplement to good sound strategy on your charts. Alright, guys, so that's enough of that. Have a good night. Talk to you all soon.